Hello world, I am Mac, and this is Logbook, an idea that I had many years ago in the middle of the ocean. While on deployment as an undesignated seaman after quitting Buds. I went to Buds because I felt like it would make me optimal, a human at max capacity. In the transition period between Buds and the fleet, and again on deployment, I was left with a lot of time to myself, to think about my decisions, and to train. I still desired to optimize myself as a human, but without the structure of special operations, I didn't know how to do it. Before even joining the Navy, and since then, I have been an avid consumer of podcasts, YouTube channels, and blogs about all things fitness. I am inspired by people like Jocko Willink and Ben Greenfield, and many more. The yin and the yang between the discipline of SEAL-style training and the compassion of biohacking has always gripped me as long as I remember. I'm also inspired by Steve Jobs, acid trips, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. What a computer is to me is the most remarkable tool that we have ever come up with. It's the equivalent of a bicycle for our minds. Steve Jobs. And among 39 days of the midnight watch, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., consisting of port lookout, aft lookout, starboard lookout, lee helm, and messenger of the watch, I focused my attention and free time on training and optimizing myself. This was the aft lookout where I read and wrote a lot. I was binge reading history, origin stories, and biographies on the creators of Uber and Airbnb, and Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, and I was training to go back to Buds and redeem myself. I was listening to the same downloaded podcasts from Jocko and Greenfield about discipline and biohacking. And in all this, I began to realize that this was what I loved. I didn't need a goal like being a SEAL to validate doing what I loved, which was optimizing myself as a human. The ingredients of innovation, inspiration, and isolation led me to the idea of Logbook, an ultimate health app designed to get me in optimal human shape, apart from all things opinionated. I wanted to blow all of the Buds standards out of the water. I wanted to win the CrossFit Games, and I wanted to make an app that led me to physical and mental domination of my will. When we stopped in Singapore, I drugged my friends to the Apple Store to buy a MacBook and proceeded to hang out in the Starbucks while they did their thing in Orchard Towers. Back on the ship, I ordered some C+ coding books and downloaded Xcode to begin making my dreams a reality, only to realize what a monumental undertaking coding an app would be. I wrote success right above my eyes in my rack to bookmark the moment and began visualizing my life after deployment, the epic barracks room on the 28th floor overlooking San Diego that I would get upon return, the viral fitness community that I would find myself lost in. I began implementing Logbook in my Write in the Rain notebook and aiming to live the perfect day every day. I returned from that deployment early 2019, and a lot has gone down since then. It is now summer 2024, and I am releasing the first iteration of Logbook. This is what it looks like. Eventually, after enough money is raised and the concept is proven, I aim to work with Apple to make a Logbook operating system for the Apple Watch and Health app. For now, the program is delivered through Notion, a note-taking app where you will have access to the blueprint for the future of health. So welcome to Logbook. What is Logbook? Logbook is a tool, a vehicle, programmed to take you in the direction of the standards. The standards are 5 categories, 20 total events spanning pretty much the entire width and breadth of human capability. Logbook is the vehicle. The standards are the aim, and you just get in the vehicle, provide the energy. Health standards, body fat 8%, heart rate 40 beats per minute, VO2 max 60 milliliters per kilogram per minute, and balanced posture, no imbalances. Cardio, 24 minutes for a 4-mile run, a 1-mile swim, 10-mile bike, and 5-mile row. Calisthenics, 25 handstand push-ups, pull-ups, Nordics, pistol squats. Strength, 495 squat, 315 bench, 495 deadlift, 225 press. And power, 365 clean and jerk, 275 snatch, 36-inch vertical jump, 120-inch broad jump. These are pretty much the most elite standards for all of these 20 events, which I think do a great job of covering everything that we can do. There's definitely room for iteration, but I think this is a really good place to start. So here's another view of all of the standards, and this is my test about 2.5 months ago. As you can see, my total score is 41 out of 100, which puts me at the very bottom of tier 4 in the standards. So this is definitely an ideal goal. There is no reward for it like there is bodybuilding or powerlifting or the CrossFit Games. The reward is the benefits you get from not only the training, but the attention to sleep, the breath work, the cold exposure, the journaling, the nutrition. It all comes together and manifests as your physical being. So the standards are more of an expression of what we're capable of. And all of this training to get to the standards, because there's a 16-week training program in here, is based on NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, the leading personal training brand's optimum performance training model. And it's filled with exercises and logic from leading exercise researchers. So these all line up to a section of training. Basically, we'll get more into that in the science behind logbook video. But in this video, I just wanted to give you an idea of the point of logbook. And I guess really there is no point. It's positively nihilistic. You can do whatever you want, but you also can do this. You're capable of doing this. So see what you got. Now that you have an idea of where I'm coming from and where we are headed, let's talk about how to get there. We are currently on the dashboard in logbook orientation, which will always be here for you to refer back to. On the dashboard, you also have access to the general overview, which talks about the mission of logbook and has a picture of the cherubim guarding the Garden of Eden. And standards testing, this will be one of the first things that you do. In here, you will see the standards and your progress on them. And now this is the logbook home screen. These are the main pages that we'll be using, some resources, and down here at the bottom, this is your roadmap. So this roadmap is pretty basic structure to follow. You can do all of your tabs more than once a week, but this is just how I'd recommend doing them in relation to training. So including all of these practices within one training cycle with your actual workouts at the gym. The first thing to do on your roadmap is watch logbook orientation. So you're doing a great job so far. When you're done here, you will go download and subscribe to the apps that we're going to use. If you have an Apple Watch, you don't need Impulse or Nike Run. You're going to use Apple Health, MyFitnessPal, Impulse, and Nike Run. Once you finish that, then you're going to go get your grocery list. Waste no time. This is your default baseline grocery list. This is what I think should always be in stock. So you have your proteins, fat, carbs, fruit, vegetables, seasonings, its stock, and how much I recommend you have for one person. And then in here, you can write the store that you get it from and do your own thing with Notion. So that's day 0. Those are the first 3 things you should do when you get logbook. And then you're on to week 0. So you have however many days here, to complete each log at least one time, to complete standards testing, and to schedule your onboarding call with me, if that's something you're interested in. So we'll go through everything that you did, review your standards, and move forward from that. Then you'll restock your grocery list and begin week 1. So there are 4 workouts per week. If you have really good recovery, you can do it faster than that. But I recommend sticking with 4 because at least for the first month, see how it is. So let's talk about completing each log at least one time. So awake. This is the first thing to do in the morning. Come in here in your morning routine. Good morning, you beautiful soul. This is your space to be good to yourself. Start the day off right by aligning your mind with the tune of the universe, love. Log the time you wake up and how much sleep you got in the sleep log. Then set intentions for your day in the morning journal. Here's the sleep log. So you're going to write the day, the time you woke up, your waking heart rate, which you can get from your Apple Watch. If not, use Impulse. You just put your finger on camera and it gets your pulse. The difficulty it was to wake up and the amount of sleep that you got. So once you put your first day in here, you'll have your bedtime and then you'll be able to reference that for all the days following. Then morning journal. You'll duplicate this every day and write the date and the day or title. And there's 3 things that you're grateful for, 3 good things that you can do today. Daily affirmations. I am 3 good things. So in week 0, try to get that done one time. So this isn't 75 hard, this is about loving yourself. So you don't fail if you miss a day of this or all of it for a day. And that's kind of why you have 1 week to do 4 of everything. And then anything on top of that is extra credit. For now, nothing. I mean, it only counts in the astral plane. So once you wake up and get your morning squared away, something you can also do is take your time on this morning journal and do it as you go through your morning. Up to you. Play around with it, make it your own. You'll move on to breath. So our breath practice, the goal is to breathe 60 times in 1 hour. That's 1 breath per minute. This is quite a feat and will likely take hours of dedicated practice to achieve. We will begin our practice wherever you're comfortable starting. First thing you're going to do, set a goal for how many breaths you will take. 13 is where I started because of an Andrew Huberman podcast. Then you're going to set a timer, and you're going to breathe slowly and deeply and count your breaths to the number that you set for yourself. End your timer when you reach your desired breath, and then log time and breaths in the breath log. You can calculate your breaths per minute if you want. If you don't, I'll probably do it for you. Maybe. This video is out of the world that I knew before I saw that video. So it gives you form advice on meditation. And if you dive into her channel, it gets a lot deeper than that. And we'll talk about it more, but not in this video. Here's your breath log. Day. You can leave this as day 1 through 112, which is how many days you're in the program, or you can write the date, or you can delete them all and make your own thing out of it. How many breaths, how long it was, how hard it was, breaths per minute, time of day, you completed it. Now here's cold. So you don't have to do it exactly in this order. I like it because it's ABC, so I try to do it in that order because it feels like accomplishing too. But I don't always, and you don't have to. So cold exposure. Here, our practice will be done in as cold of water as you have access to and as for as long as you feel necessary. I currently do 3 minutes and 33 seconds. It's by that time I'm kind of into it and used to it, and it's not miserable anymore. And I don't know how much longer than that would be effective. So here's the cold log. You'll if you want to track number of breaths, you can. It's something that I have been playing with, and I actually just hit 3 breaths in 3 minutes and 33 seconds for the first time today. What? And I didn't want to at all. Today was the least day that I ever wanted to get in cold water, and it ended up being epic. By like my first breath, I was like, this is a good one. Glad we did it. So those are the first 3 logs. Nutrition has kind of a lot more stuff in it. Let's take a look at the nutrition log first. Here, you'll put your body weight, body fat, calories, protein, fat, carbs, steps, notes. In the notes, or in the page, you can write your meals if you want. Sometimes I do it. We'll dive into that more later. Right now, let's look at all of these micronutrients. If you track on MyFitnessPal, you'll be able to see some of these. I don't think there's any apps right now that track this much, but that's the point of Logbook. That's the direction we're headed. This is just a draft. And I need you guys to use it and dive into it so we can track this stuff as humans. So the nutrition practice is based on the 2 books that I mentioned earlier. This is just a good rule of thumb, I think. You should probably have 3 to 4 meals a day containing 30 to 50 grams of protein, 20 to 40 grams of fat, 100 to 200 grams of carbohydrates, 1 to 2 pieces of fruit, 1 to 2 cups of vegetables, and some nuts. That's ideal. Rarely do I ever have a day where I have 4 of those meals, but aim for it. And choose that first. Like if you're hungry, go eat a bunch of this kind of stuff that's in your grocery list, and then decide if you want to eat shitty food. Likely you won't. You'll be like, wow, glad I made that decision. So the meal plan has 4 solid options. It's my ideal meal plan after a decade of trying to make the ideal meal plan. There's definitely room for optimization, but they are reliable. So protein meal, protein powder, whole grain oats, whole milk, raw mixed nuts, banana, kiwi, blueberry, honey. I haven't put the instructions in there yet. It's a mountain that came from a molehill. Vitality meal, eggs, steak, orange, shot. Also haven't put the recipe in here yet, but it's like a lemon, ginger, turmeric, cayenne shot. Greens, blueberry, potato. Good breakfast, post-workout. Blue collar sushi, canned tuna, jasmine rice. That's one from the Navy. You can add stuff to it if you love yourself at all. And a standard dinner, protein, fat, carb, greens. And that would be a good meal. Those emojis right there. But there's a lot of flexibility with nutrition. Some days I just eat fruit. And so let's talk about that. Actually, yeah, we'll talk about that right now. Some days I just eat fruit. Some days I fast. And I think that is something you have to figure out in a relationship with yourself. Just some days it just feels like I'm on a fast, but like I don't want to eat nothing, so I'll eat fruit only. That's a good idea. I think that's the Holy Spirit. But this is the science that says how to set your calories and macros. And yeah, this is a pretty simple overview. And you can get into it. And if you can't figure it out, then we'll go over it on your first onboarding call that will be free. And then the check-in calls will cost money. to raise money for this to become something that is on your watch and you don't have to track everything so in depth. So that's pretty much it for nutrition. I didn't write in here, somewhere it is written, and I'll add it back, that the goal is to eat intuitively and to do that with integrity for your best interest and for your goals. And sometimes it's good to just track to make sure that you're on that path. I think it would be ideal if we had an always updated view of our calories and macros to know what's going on and to be able to look at trends. So for that sake, I think I am going to track everything I eat. And I'll probably ask people who aren't confident in their nutrition to do that also until you become confident in it. Who knows? Hopefully we'll have not hopefully, but faithfully, we'll have a device that can just read your blood sugar somehow. Hopefully not intrusively, but it's the future. It is the future. And a journal. So articles, some things that I wrote to you. Yeah. Check-ins. This is where you'll keep all your check-in information. This will probably be different for everybody until I find out a really good way to do it. And some prompts. Who have you been? Who will you become? What drives you, my friend? Okay, so journal is kind of your own thing. You can add pages in there. Like, oh, I'm on the view, so I can't actually edit it, but you can add your own pages. Nutrition log. I think it's a smart bet to keep that updated as best as you can. Okay, training. Here's like the expression. I had it confused for a long time with bodybuilding, but that is what like got me into fitness from being a fat kid. So can't brag on it. It's a good gateway to whatever this is. Optimal health. This is the expression. This is what we're able to do because of what our creator has made us. This is not, you shouldn't be hurting yourself or rushing this process because that defeats the purpose of it to get injured. This is for health. This is for the expression of health. So our goal in these standards, the standard is perfect form. The standard is balanced posture and a 40 BPM resting heart rate. I really try not to go to the gym angry or be angry as much as possible because we get to do this out of love, not anger. Using that as fuel is just scary. Wouldn't wish it on you or anyone. So training is based on a lot of different companies and programs that I think are leading in their sect. So before we get into that, I'm going to show you what a training day looks like. So there's 4 workouts that you'll repeat 16 times each. So within each workout, we have sections. We have warm-up, activation, core/balance, conditioning, strength, hypertrophy, calisthenic, cardio cool down. Sometimes conditioning is plyometric, sometimes strength is power. Days 1 and 3 are strength and conditioning, days 2 and 4 are plyometric and power. If this seems like a lot to you, it kind of is. But since there's only 4 workouts per week, you can do some of this stuff on the next day. Just make sure that you warm up and cool down properly. But if you have time and the energy to just do this 4 times a week, then I think that would be really awesome. That's what I'm aiming for. Although on week 3 of this, I have only done a couple of days, but all in one day. So let's back up to what we were referencing this for. So we have the sections, okay? Each of these sections is derived from research. The whole setup of the program, the sections in and of themselves are part of the NASM Optimum Performance Training Model. NASM is National Academy of Sports Medicine. That's, I think, the leading personal training certification, but I don't know that for sure. It makes a lot of sense though, and it's really cool. So instead of having their 5-phase structure, we're trying to do all of those phases at the same time. So they are in the OPT model, they had like warm up, activation, core balance, resistance, cardio, and cool down. And what we've done here is just break resistance down into power, strength, hypertrophy, calisthenic. And if you're doing like any effective workout, you're probably going to do like 4 to 8 exercises. 4 times a week, you'd probably do 8 exercises. So 2 in each of those sections isn't even overkill. The strength section comes from Juggernaut Training Systems, and each of these are linked to their research, except for the last 2, which I will link soon. So that's where the strength, Juggernaut is where the strength, conditioning, and cardio comes from. So on your strength portion, you'll see this is what you're doing for squat, bench, deadlift, and press. The cardio and calisthenics, we switched up push-ups for handstand push-ups, but I think we're going to make that an either or type of situation. The cardio definitely comes from this NSW physical training guide, though. The guide is only running and swimming, but we have biking and rowing in here too. And that's a really cool progression. It has 3 different intervals of running and swimming. It has LSD run, long slow distance, CHI, continuous high intensity, and interval. So these really line up with the zones training. So this is like zone 3, this is zone 4, this is zone 5. And we added a zone 1 to 2 run in there too. And so we only do each of these once a week and then a zone 1 to 2 also. Because this is a lot of cardio, and maybe on future iterations of Vlogbook we'll mess around with it, but me personally, it's already pushing my limits. So I want to adapt to it. This is the ideal way to train. Our hypertrophy logic comes from Renaissance periodization volume landmarks philosophy. And you can dive into that if you want, but it's pretty much just getting a weight that you can do for like a amount of reps on the lower end of the hypertrophy rep range, and then training with that same weight for about, however long your training cycle is, 8+ weeks, 8 weeks. you train with that same weight and do more sets and more reps with it. So if you can do like 2 sets of about 8 reps at the beginning, you want to be able to do like 5 sets of 15-ish reps by the end. And in that period of time, if you're getting strength faster, you can add a little bit of weight. So it's set up for you to be able to do that. The activation is inspired by athletic training groups practices. There's some more in there too, like Squat University. They inspired the mobility part of this. So like jump ability 0 and knee ability 0, those are pretty much built into this program. And then these are what our nutrition is based on, the muscle and strength pyramids by Dr. Eric Helms of 3D Muscle Journey, and that hierarchy of dietary effectiveness also by Renaissance Periodization. Dr. Mike. So I think these are the best way to math your nutrition. And I think it is acceptable to some days fast and sometimes just eat fruit. But journal about it and pay attention to what happens. So that's how our training is based. The way you'll access all of the progressions are in each workout. Inside of each exercise, you will have the 16-week progression for it. And this is where you will upload all your videos. You will write the weight performed. And then, yeah, this is kind of a lot, but it is how it has to be for now. This is your reps. So for week 1, you're going to do 3 sets of 10, 10, and then max reps at 6 RPE, rate of perceived exertion. Look that up if you don't know what it is. This is week 1. Week 2 is a little bit heavier, same deal on the reps. And then week 3 is the peak of that 4-week cycle. And you're going to do max reps at 75%, and then you're going to take a deload week doing 50% weight for sets of 5. So this is a 4-week cycle. There's 4 of those 4-week cycles, each time getting a little bit heavier on that max rep set. So you're doing 90% for max reps at the end, and probably aiming to get more than 3 reps. So that is how the strength progression is going to work. Same thing for all of those exercises. The progressions for the activation and core and balance are simpler. So these activation exercises are never supposed to be very hard, 6 to 7 RPE. There's weight 1 and weight 2, because sometimes I like to start light and get into it and then go a little bit heavier. So you can track your weight 1, weight 2, reps, notes, and upload videos. If you upload videos, it's likely that I'll give you form feedback, especially if you're buying check-ins. Then I definitely will. I'll be your actual intelligence system. Okay, same thing for pullover. Same thing for core and balance, but you can go a little bit harder here. Yeah, so RPE is getting up to 8 in week 3. Same deal with the weight. Up to you. Reps. And don't skimp on these core exercises. Try on these. You can also mess around with doing core after your big lifting stuff, or maybe core on the off day. But again, I like to try to get it all done in one go. It just makes you feel resilient and epic to be able to do that. Our conditioning practice, starting off week 1, 10 sets, 10 yards or 10 meters, 5 RPE week 1. So getting into it, doing like bounds pretty much on week 1. And then you're going to do 3 40-meter runs by the end. We went through squat and bench, hypertrophy, hip abduction, adduction, delt, abduction, adduction. So that would be lateral raise and a decline cable chest fiber. You can see that in each of these exercises, how to do it. There's a video that links to YouTube. So this is our Renaissance periodization inspired hypertrophy progression. You're gonna find a weight that is your 8 rep max at 6 to 7 RPE on week 1. So that what you can do the most for 8 reps, and then you can probably do like 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 more if you really had to push it with perfect form. Okay. That's the logic. And then you're going to do that again for max reps at 6 to 7 RPE. And then you're going to keep that weight and you're going to work with it for these next 2 weeks, trying to get more and more reps. And then we're going to deload and you're going to do it again here. If you haven't gotten up to the 15 rep range by the time week 3 comes around, then use the same weight here and keep doing it. And our sets are going to progress over time to 5 sets by the end. This is definitely lower than Dr. Mike recommends, but we're also doing a lot of other stuff than just bodybuilders do. So we're not like maximizing our hypertrophy yet until we see how that goes for people. What else do we have in workout A? Calisthenics, same logic as hypertrophy for the most part. Hi, my dog just walked in here. And then cardio at the end. So our zone 3, all of these are going to be the same thing within, but different distances. Our zone 3 run is always going to be 4 miles because that is what we're testing for the standards. So all the other cardios are just their test for the standards in zone 3. And you're going to do that at 6 RPE, except on deload weeks, do it at 5 RPE. Pay attention to the RPEs because like in one workout, you can definitely go harder than the RPE recommends, but over the course of like 2 weeks doing this, you'll be smoked and not able to finish because you didn't listen to this RPE. Okay, workout B. There's just a few things different in workout B. So we have plyometric and power. Our box jump is inspired by Juggernaut, and it will be 6 sets of 3 reps, 5 sets of 3 reps, 4 sets of 2 reps, repeated at 75, 85, and 95% of your 1 rep max. So you'll just track your box jump height and any videos that line up with that. And then your clean jerk and snatch are inspired by a Chinese weightlifting progression, a Chinese Olympic weightlifting progression that I found on the internet. So we're going to give that a go. And I'll link the spreadsheet to that. It's not in research yet, but I'll put it in there. We're going to give that a go. So you're doing 3 sets at 90% for 1 rep, 3 sets at 85% for 2 reps, uploading any videos that you take. And it's the same deal for snatch in workout D. So it's a good zone 4 run. That's going to be 1 set of 1 mile at 8 RPE this time. And by the end, there'll be 4 sets of 1 mile at 8 RPE. So that one gets intense. But they're more than capable. The cardio and workout C is our zone 1 to 2. So this is where we get our distance in, up to 11 miles for running by the end, but only 2 to 4 RPE. So really chilling on that pace. In workout D, we have zone 5 cardio. This is where we'll do our 400 meters and getting up to 10 sets of that by the end at 10 RPE. That's a fun one also. So that's the training in logbook. In your roadmap, you'll see yoga is 1 for 1 with training. So every time you train, you should do yoga. And good library of practices ranging from 5 to 30 minutes or more. I recommend just like get into yoga and do the 45-minute ones. But if all you can get yourself to do is 5, then good on you for doing yoga because yoga is awesome. That's Yoga with Adrienne's channel. I'm biased to her, but yeah, check it out. It's cool. I just write the duration, the difficulty, the time of day completed, and notes / links that I like. Okay, and then there's an exercise library. This is the database of all of your exercises. So just everything's home. And in here you can find a video for every exercise also. And that is always commented. Okay, that's it for training. Let's look at unwind, our evening routine. How was your day? Great. Just take a deep breath. And how was your day? Assess your performance in the evening journal. Clean up the blood, sweat, and tears. Say a prayer. Log your bedtime in the sleep log. It's not there, but I'll put it back. Shut your eyes and go to sleep. With love, Matt. Here's your sleep log again. And you'll just write your bedtime and probably the next morning your difficulty going to sleep. And then morning, well, this should be evening journal. And it should be, well, let's just go change it right now. Really quick. Unwind. Evening journal. That's so weird. Well, it's already fixed, but evening journal. 3 good things I did today. 3 things I could improve on. Okay. And that's logbook. What will we become?